Let's get into it. One more time, Matt Robinson in the TCA Studio in beautiful Bytown, Canada. Sitting across the desk, I gotta say, man, from a bit of an asshole, Steve Bunda. The day before he was supposed to come in here, he sends me a text message, and he's like, hey, we still good to go today? And I'm scrolling through my calendar, I'm looking on the message, like, it's tomorrow. I'm like, I've double booked myself. I've got shit. He's like, I'm just messing with you. Fucking guy.
Oh, Matty.
You're one of those guys.
You know, we've
making life difficult on me.
The last couple of times we've done this, you get to, these days, and then we were, always back and forth.
Yes.
And I think this was like the first time we both acknowledged we were both good for a day.
Yes.
But I was like kind of bored on my way home from work, and I just like, you know what?
I'm going to fuck with that guy.
Yeah, see if Matty's paying attention today, or if I could throw him into a bit of a curveball.
And you did.
Yeah, got you going a little bit, and was trying to get you, fired up, and sure enough.
And yeah, man, because I have heard for quite a while from several of your colleagues, you're kind of an asshole at work too. You like to mess with people, and you're kind of a prankster around the Bell Media building down there. And I guess I got my first taste of it because honestly, you put a panic into me there for a minute. So, what a dick!
And I actually think you pretty much said I am not free Tuesday or Wednesday, so it's either Monday or Thursday. And we're like, okay, Thursday it is. So. You know what? You got to stand your toes, Matty. And why do you think these Tall Can Audio fans chase me in?
I guess so, man. This time they've got my blessing.
Yeah,
right?
they're throwing stuff at me.
Bats down there. Yeah, all kinds of stuff, buddy. So we're on social media at Tall Can Audio. Give us a follow there. Make sure you're subscribed. Wherever you're hearing us right now. Bunda, we're going to have a pint because, well, we do that. You have supplied the first pint here, and it's relevant for a couple different reasons. But you're paying off my winnings. This is November, December. You and I made some kind of bet on a UFC fight. My girl Valentina Shevchenko versus your girl Zhang Wei Li, I believe, was the fight. Shevchenko victorious, and it lands me 6 beers, man. You're an honorable guy, because I think one of the last times we talked about getting together and doing a show, you said I got your winnings, and I had forgotten. I was like, wait, what? You could have gotten away with it, man. You could have skated, but you brought it up, man, and you've paid it off now. So appreciate that.
Yeah, that was back in November 15th. Valentina Shevchenko versus my girl Zhang Weili. November 15th. Yes, that's that long ago. And I think you just threw out, hey, 6-pack of crafts. I said, sure, let's do it.
Yep.
And then, it's been so many online pods, Christmas.
This is it,
life,
man. The last bunch of shows we've done have been online. You've had, busy with other things, the holiday season, running the farm, all kinds of stuff going on, man. So we haven't been able to do this in person. But here you are walking in the door for the first time since then, and 6 beers for Matt. Not too bad.
No, and I'm glad you could finally get to indulge in them. And I did admit that there was a 6-pack, but then I had to shorten it to a 4-pack because I was thirsty over the last 4 or 5 months that you haven't gotten your earnings. You know what? I love making bets. I love doing that stuff. But if you lose, you got to pay up, or else what's the point, man?
Well, this is it. Yeah. No.
And if you don't like it, don't lose.
No.
Just don't lose.
I had a friend of mine, it was her birthday a couple days ago. So I just, we always trade a couple small gifts, nothing big or whatever else. And I got her this oversized Reese's chocolate bar. But I am a sucker for Reese's. And then I didn't see her for a day or two longer than I thought. And I'm like, that thing's just sitting there for
Did you hold off?
I held off, man. I was a good guy about it. But I said, when I handed it to her, I was like, this barely made it. You're lucky.
One more week and it was bad.
It, man. So I can certainly relate. This comes from, well, first of all, let's get into yours because I want to talk about this brewery afterwards.
Yeah, well, I went into your fridge of assortments, and as usual, there was a good chunk of them, but then I saw one that jumped out, and I think I explained to you, monkeys always win, man. And you had one with a big gorilla. It's got some headphones, some shades on from Merit. It's called Strange Animal Juicy IPA. Bit of a strong guy, 7.1%.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've never tried it. I've never seen it. It's a cool purple and red can with, like I said, a gorilla on it. Just looks really cool. So the monkey won, and I'm going to give this one a good little pull here now.
Well, Bunda is a trooper. Like we said, it's been a while since we've been able to get him in studio, and he
That's good.
He's feeling just a tiny bit under the weather. He's powering through, and a nice 7% beer might help clear the head here a little bit, Matt.
You got any whiskey if it doesn't? Might have to start shooting some stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Over here, this is one of the ones you have brought me as part of my winnings. This is from Kitchissippi, who just shut down, man. And that was in the last 2-3 weeks. And that was bad news. Those guys were pillars in the Ottawa craft beer community.
Absolutely.
And made really nice stuff. I'm curious, man. I know you have a bit more of a relationship with Paul, the guy who ran the brewery, and some stuff that he had worked through with your friend. Just give us a couple words on Kitchissippi, as it was tough to see them go down.
Yeah, man, heartbroken. Anyone that knows Paul Meek, Kitchissippi Beer, and tough news. I just hated seeing that because he's one of the greatest guys, along with just putting together some damn good beer over the years. Kitchissippi, Stony Monday. I think it was one of my first ever IPAs. And
really?
It really got me tied into the IPAs, and I started thinking like, wow, this is some good shit. Like, I need to get into this a bit more. And working, over the years, I've crossed paths with Paul a few times where Kitchissippi's done some work with the guys at 1200 in Belmedia a few times. So I've got to try a good chunk of their beer. Been out to the brewery a bunch of times, had some, fish tacos out there with the Admire fish truck. Just a great spot. And it's so, it's so tough. He's such a great dude. And, he helped out when my mom had her fire and went through some tough times as well. Like he helped out there as well. And he's that kind of guy, man. He's in the community all the time, helping everybody out. Such a, just, like I said, top-notch guy. I do know that, he is the guy that, isn't going to sit and sulk. He's going to move forward and do something. And I know that he is going to bounce back and find another venue or venture or do something more because he's too good of a guy and too strong of a dude to be put down. I know it's tough for him, and it's heartbreaking, man. And, we go through right now tough times, right? The world is in a great spot when it comes to the retail, and, everyone's kind of feeling the effects still from the pandemic and whatnot. And breweries are one of those things that kind of got everybody through the pandemic, when you weren't able to go out. How many times did you just order flats of beer, man? Like,
I can't, I don't want to answer that question. It was a few times. Yeah.
The number does not exist, right? Like, it's one of those things. But and just, again, staple in the auto community and such a great guy. So I do wish him all the best moving forward. I know it's tough times right now, but Paul's such a good dude that it won't be long for him to get something else going and kind of keep going. And
100%.
I know he's always made some real good beer, and I think that's the second part of how good of a dude he is, if I can say that just one more time.
Sure.
I love Paul and Kitchissippi, and the people there were always great. It was always a great spot to go. So it is going to suck, driving by that place and not being able to pull in for, whether it be Oktoberfest. I think I cranked a huge pretzel there one time and some beer. Like, it's such a, staple. So I hope the best for him moving forward, man.
100%. And, I know you're not the type of guy to harp on yourself or your own family or whatever, but you mentioned your mom having that fire, and they ran a thing there. I don't know for how long, but a portion of everything sold went towards a bit of a fundraiser there to help get things rebuilt or whatever. Like, he's that kind of community guy.
Without even talking to me, he offered. He said, "Look, I want to do this for you if you're okay with it, you and your mom." And that's just the kind of guy he is. Like I said, and he didn't know me anything or my mom. Like, I'm just a guy that loves to drink craft beer. And Paul,
you found out someone in the community was having a hard time.
I can't even believe I forgot. One of my favorite stories was. When I was working at 1200 one evening, and CFRA Santa Talk was going on, and the old jolly man walked in himself, and I remember just thinking, this is awesome. And Paul's done so many different things over the years, but it was nice to just be able to see him and talk to him all the time. And like I said, I look forward to seeing what he's going to do next, because I know him that he's going to be pushing forward to do something. And again, such a caring dude and such a good man.
And now I've got a few of their beers here sitting, and I get precious with this stuff, right? Like, I've still got 6 of the TCA anniversary beers sitting here almost a year later. I'm like, that's a special occasion thing now, or that's a whatever. These will be kind of similar, right? There's not going to be Kitchissippi beer. Now, he is still involved with the Commons downtown. They obviously won't have Kitchissippi beers, but that's one way you can support Paul and go in and support that business. But we'll see what's next for that guy. And like you said, he's a tough guy, tough dude, community-minded dude. He'll be fine, and we'll see what happens next.
Absolutely.
Look, man, there's a bunch of stuff, and we're not going to play coy like we do sometimes where, we get to the end and I'm like, oh, Bunda, can you stick around for another day? Look, there's enough MMA stuff alone to fill an episode. So there will be a second episode. Bunda will be back tomorrow and we'll talk everything that's going on in the MMA world. But up front, there's, we're coming down the stretch here on the hockey playoff drive. I'm intrigued. Your take on what the Miami Dolphins are doing right now, the hard sell that's happening down there across the state from your favorite team. Look, there's a bunch of places we could go. I'm curious, man. Hockey, football, baseball, where do you want to start? What's on your mind today, man, as we sit down and chat here?
You know what? Let's start with some baseball just because,
okay.
I know you asked me about this a couple weeks ago, and I think I have watched a little bit of baseball. But I was talking to you about the World Baseball Classic, right? And I'll admit, I did only watch maybe, 25 minutes to half an hour of the Canada versus United States game on that Friday night.
Dude's got you didn't even have an excuse. I was going to give you the hook that he's got to start early the next day, but
no, I just really I wasn't totally feeling it. I was watching, and then U.S. was up at the time, and I know Canada made it a little bit close. I think it was 3-0 at the time. I tuned in, and I was doing something else, and I can't remember what it was, but I was flipping back and forth between something else and
Halloween movies in February or something.
Hey, sometimes you just got to watch some Halloween movies, man. You never know. But it was pretty cool to see Canada advance to the quarterfinal and play the United States. Unfortunately, I was getting pretty sick and tired of the amount of Americans in my feed that were gloating about how much they can run Canada's show right now, which, it does annoy me, but, credit to them. They have been on a damn roll. Thankfully, Venezuela stepped up and helped everybody out and put them back in their place a touch, but they're still gloating about hockey and sledge hockey and all the hockey they want.
Everything. Women's hockey, too.
They brought the Super Bowl. They brought
juniors.
They brought the Blue Jays into the Dodgers in games. They took a good run at Canada. Everyone has, and it's kind of like, God, can we just get one thing going on right now? And it is tough. But I know you watch a lot more of that game. What were your takeaways of, do you think it was, good to see them, exciting, or is it just sucked that they had to lose to the Americans?
Wow, anytime you got to go. Like, I would have preferred to lose to just about anybody else. But watching Canada get to the quarters was awesome. Like, I thought just to get out of the pool. And there was, look, it's not as strong of a pool as you've sometimes been in, but you did have to get through Cuba. You did have to get through Puerto Rico. Like, these are legit baseball powers, and they did, and they won their pool. The American game, look, to get as close as they did, they had two men on in scoring position with nobody out with the heart of the lineup coming up. That was your moment, right? That was your chance when you were down 5-3, and you could have, I don't know whether you would have beat the Americans, but you could have made that a whole lot different, right? Like, you could have put the fear of God into them.
Just like Nathan McKinnon with missing a wide open net against it.
It's a lot like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot like that. But even to watch the rest of it, man, to watch the USA Dominican game, which most people were really pumped up about, and to watch it end on a brutal blown call by the umps. But at least it turned out to be a good game. Venezuela, I did not see them beating the Americans. But that's the crazy thing about baseball, right? We play baseball in series, right? They're 3-game series. They're 4-game series. Then we get into the playoffs, and it's a best of 5. It's a best of 7, all that kind of stuff. Single elimination, 1-game baseball, anybody can beat anybody, man. It can happen. Like, baseball's one of those sports where if your pitcher's going that day or your lineup's is kind of cold, it can go that way. I'm curious, as we kind of look forward towards the baseball season, your boy Roman Anthony made a bit of an impact. He sort of shone through at the World Baseball Classic and had at least one big clutch home run. The AL East is always kind of wild. Are you geared up for the start of the season? Are you still locked in on your Red Sox, man? I think a lot of us are waiting for that young core to burst through. And I don't think they had the offseason they expected to, but they didn't end up having a bad offseason. Like they ended up they're going to be right there. They're going to be in this thing.
Yeah, they've added to their pitching, but I think you bring up the great point of Roman Anthony.
Yeah.
You think back to their playoff run and push down the stretch last year. When he got injured, they were just a different team.
Yes.
Completely different team. They didn't have that extra juice on the bases. They didn't have that bat, that guy that can just bring it a bit more. And it was tough throughout, I guess, they're down the stretch. They kind of, were a team that was red hot. And then as soon as he got injured, it was like, okay, they're now really warm. But
that one piece you can't afford to lose.
It was, it was that energy piece and great young piece. And now, I won't lie, I haven't really watched any preseason ball other than a couple minutes of Jays games. And I think I just flipped on to a Red Sox game. And it was, as I did, it was like, and then the game's over. And I was like, oh, perfect. So I got to see one out. So it's kind of, that's all I got to watch.
Sure, yeah.
But, they are a young core that needs to move forward, especially in a division where, the Jays are, showed last year, they can play some rally ball. And they have now there's a much different lineup for the Jays this year. So we'll see what they can do. The Yankees, well, they spend a crap ton of money to be always in the mix.
And they're going to get Garrett Cole back right after missing most of last year. Like their pitching is going to be pretty good as well. It's always the Orioles fell off last year, and no one expected that. I assume they'll bounce back. Like this is, as usual, going to be the toughest division in baseball. Man.
Yeah, let's just hope the Rays are fine. But no, I think that's the problem. Is it's such a tough division, and when the Jays, Red Sox, and Yankees all made kind of the wild card in playoffs last year, it was pretty exciting to see that whole division represented.
Yes.
And for the Red Sox, it's where do you go from here, right? We're so used to, and I know I'm a Red Sox fan first before a Jays fan, but go back to the last 26 years or so, they were a team that would usually be like one off year, back in the mix, one off year World Series, one off year, back in the mix, one off year. Okay, here we're back in the World Series. So it's been weird since 2017, not really seeing them in like big moments and making the playoffs as consistently as they have.
Yeah.
And now to see them kind of have some young stars and kind of spending a little bit more, I'm kind of curious to see it. I feel like they're a big move away from being that team that's like, okay, now the Red Sox are a team you don't want to watch.
Suddenly they've stopped spending. Like that's the weird thing
over the
about
last
Boston.
decade or so, right?
Yeah. And they have nice young prospects. They've got some good pieces. They have a scary rotation. But for whatever reason, they just don't want to spend the big money like they used to.
Well,
and that's the
Crochet was a very big buy for them, last year.
Yeah.
Trading for him and giving him the contract.
They're bringing Suarez this year. Like that's a big piece. But you know what I'm saying? Like they used to be second only to the Yankees in spending. And now they've sort of pumped the brakes a little bit, it seems like. I'm springing this on you. You wouldn't have had a chance to see it because you were at work before coming over here. The Jays just announced on Thursday morning that they are replacing the level of excellence with the Hall of Excellence. And it's really going to be the same thing. It's just where they honor people. What do they call it here in Ottawa? They've got, maybe it's the same thing, the level of excellence. It's not quite retiring your number, but it's the next, next level down for the Senators.
Sure.
Anyway, Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor, yeah.
Yes. So this will be, the level of excellence is going to be moved into the Hall of Excellence, and it'll be built behind right field on the main concourse. And I think that's okay. Like, I guess it's fine. Lots of stadiums and franchises have little halls of fame inside their own building. But I got to be honest with you, man. Like, for me, I kind of like the idea that the level of excellence was field-facing, right? When you go to the game, you could see these different names on the fascia of the deck there at the Dome. Does it really matter for you? Like, now it's a physical place. You can walk through, and I think there's 11 names they also announced as it's changing to the Hall of Excellence. The Buck Martinez is going to go in August. I think that's a natural.
Buck.
Yeah, no, exactly, man. I think that's totally reasonable. I'm just curious. Would you have a preference, like that it's a physical place on the concourse that people can walk through and see these names and see whatever, versus what they've been doing where it's sort of displayed out in where anyone who has a seat can kind of see it on the fascia of.
Do you have to pay? Like, is it in a completely different area now, or is
no? You won't have to pay. Like, if you have a
Hall of
ticket,
Fame kind of
no,
thing
you can
next
still
door.
just walk through on the main concourse. It's just moving it from being field facing to being a physical area in the park that you can kind of go and walk through.
Yeah, I didn't know about this, like you said, until you tell me here now.
Here, yeah.
And I think my thing is, I think it should be field facing, mainly because
I like that too better.
I think too, because a lot of the times you'll hear from players that talk about looking up in the rafters and seeing names, jerseys, anywhere, banners, everything, and you realize what you're playing for. It's not just yourself. It's for the guys that came before you, that laid the groundwork that you want to be a part of in your future, and you want your name and your team's.
Well, if you have tickets in the 500s on like the opposite end of the stadium, it's not impossible to get there. You can go and you can walk and
sure,
but it's less convenient, and it's, I don't know, if I'm just sitting in my seat and I look down and I can see, oh shit, there's Jose Bautista's name right there on the level of excellence. Like, it kind of reminds you of good times. Whereas now, look, this isn't the end of the world. I'm not trying to rip the Jays for it, but now I got to go and walk around, like walk somewhere to find those good times. I like it.
You'll probably end up stopping to grab a beer, and that might be why they're doing it.
I think this is it, man. Get people.
Is that the hot dog guy too? Yeah, I'll take 4 of those, please. Extra
Schneider's
mustard.
hot dog night or loony dog night or whatever they call it for the Jays. Yeah. No, there will be probably a gift shop right next door.
100%. There will be. Money is a factor
100%, man. And look, it's not the end of the world. I don't hate it, but I'm kind of like you, and maybe it's just our hockey background that's like, no, I during a stoppage in play, I like to be able to just look up and see, oh, look, there's Gary Roberts, or oh, look, there's Daniel Alfredson.
You can't say Gary Roberts' name without going, Gary Roberts. Come
Andy
on.
Frost said it.
That's
buddy.
right, Andy Frost, my man.
But, it's right there. It's in the bowl. It's part of the game experience as opposed to being, a go do something else experience. But the Dome has sort of shifted towards that, right? Like, they've got the bleachers now out in right field and up on the
renovations, right?
Yeah, where you've got kind of the park on one side and you've got kind of this bar on the other side. Like, they're trying to create destinations in the Dome. So I guess this fits into that. But I think I liked it better when these names and these special people within your organization's history were right there inside the park, and you can see it from anywhere you're sitting.
Yeah, I guess for the fans, you can go and get pictures easier with some stuff and visualize it maybe a bit more. That's right. I'd need to see it more, but I personally do like I said, in the stadium, again, the players, you look up, I think that's something that they need to visualize and see as well. It's kind of part of the team and the history,
yes.
right? That it's more than just,
this is bigger than just us here today.
Yeah. So I think I like that aspect of it. So I guess we'll see. Maybe if you go down to a game this summer, you're going to go check it out, or are you just going to say, yeah, you know what, I don't need to go do that?
If I'm down there at the Dome, I will obviously go. Now, I don't know exactly when this is going to shift, right? Like they said, Buck Martinez, August 28th, I believe, is the day that they'll induct him. Will it be built by then? How this shift plays out, that wasn't clear in the piece that I read, but if I am down there and it's done, like, I will go and see it, but I don't know. I think I just preferred it as already being field facing, like we talked about. Why don't we touch on the NFL here? Just brief, because, man, Miami has made no bones about it. They are tearing this thing down to the studs. The quarterback is gone. Their best offensive weapon is gone, I think, to Denver, if I saw correct. That'll be
Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
Or no, Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, was that what you would have done to Miami? Were they, like, it's not like they were great, but they have clearly decided, look, we're not getting anywhere here. Let's try and rebuild. There's not really a number one, like, elite level can't miss quarterback in the upcoming draft. Like, I don't know, man.
Well, they went out and signed a big deal. Like, they went out and got in Malik Willis, who was the backup quarterback in Green Bay.
True enough.
They paid him some big money just based off of what he saw last year.
And then they traded away his weapons.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. They've always wanted to be more of a more dominant run team. Look, McDaniel isn't there anymore. Like, it's a completely different team.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill they got rid of. Like, Jalen Waddle they traded. There's some guys in the draft you can go after and bring in, and I think the Dolphins are a team where they're in a division that you kind of need a big dog at quarterback. Is it Malik Willis? It's still too early to tell for me. Like, we only saw glimpses and spot starts, and last time I remember a Green Bay Packers quarterback that showed real good was oh man, I can't even remember his name. He went to he ended up going over to, it was Matt Flynn, I think it was.
Oh man,
and he went to Seattle for big money after having like a 5 touchdown performance in like the last NFL game of the season, and then they drafted Russell Wilson, and the guy never even started. So there's a lot that can happen throughout the offseason that'll surprise you, and the draft is coming up in about a month or so from now, which is always exciting. But for the Dolphins, it's tough when they're constantly going up against the Patriots, who were back in the Super Bowl.
Back,
and they're a team that is trending in that right direction. You're always up against the Bills, the Jets.
Mm-hmm. They're the Jets.
Yeah. Relax there, Vanessa Sanchez. Nah, she knows. It's
she does
tough.
know.
Yeah, she's one of those Jets fans that she'll take all the pokes at herself, and then as soon as you criticize the Jets, she'll be like, let me do that. Like, I'll criticize myself. But no, you're in a tough division where you're already battling two teams that now Drake May is kind of leading one team, and Josh Allen, it's a big year for him, right? It's the constant, can he get over the hump? And, last year, came close again, and everyone's like, look, it's his, oh, damn it, the Bills again. Yeah. And it was like, all right, what's going on here, man? What are they going to take that next step? They made some moves too this offseason. I love offseason football because so much happens so quickly. But
you mentioned Buffalo not taking that next step. That's tied directly to Denver. Do you like what they're doing? Is Bo Nix going to end up being good enough? Is what they've done in this offseason? It certainly fits the mold of what their head coach would want to do, but is Bo Nix going to turn out to be good enough to get them where they want to go?
Well, first off, I hate Sean Payton, and I don't give a damn about the Broncos. Saints ties,
I do. For some reason. I've got a little bit of a soft spot for the Broncos.
Yeah. I think bringing in Jalen Waddle is, a great start. Bo Nix, right? The injury that came in the playoffs, very tough. I think it would have been a different team. Their defense is really good, but again, they're in another very tough division too, right?
Yes.
I love the AFC is so crazy for this. They have just stacked divisions. Are they trending in the right direction? Again, there's a good draft coming up with a lot of defensive players and some offensive weapons, but I do think that it wouldn't hurt for them to add, maybe another weapon or two, whether it be running back or a receiver, something, tight end, just to help out. I think that's something that might be just, they're a piece away from contending right in that division that they're in. So I think
I look at the Broncos right now and I go, I like Bo Nix, but I don't know how good he is yet. I haven't figured that. You're right. To see him get injured in the playoffs, that was a brutal blow. Any team losing their starting quarterback, that's brutal. But I look at them and I go, I just watched Sam Darnold win the Super Bowl, and I'm not even trying to be a prick, but I just go,
be a prick. Yeah.
Well, it comes naturally. But you don't have to be Mahomes, right? You don't have to be Allen. You don't have to win a Super Bowl if going back just to the Broncos. You can just be the ghost of Peyton Manning if the rest of the team around you and defense you have is good enough, right?
Yeah.
You can win a Super Bowl that way. Is Bo Nix one of those guys? Does he have another what do you think of him as someone who, like I said, I'm obviously looking this as through rose-colored or orange-colored glasses that, he's going to be good enough. Do you think he's good enough to take a team to the Super Bowl, or is he going to be the place where they fall down?
He's definitely good enough. Yeah. It's just a matter of, staying healthy and, playing when it matters, right? That's the thing. You brought up Sam Darnold, and like I said, I could tell you, anyone that put money on the Seahawks is either a diehard Seahawks fan or Sam Darnold's family, because that it wasn't happening.
That's right.
But their defense was awesome. They drafted really well, and that's the thing. A draft can just do you so well and just give you that extra boost. And I look at this team, right, the Broncos, and I see guys, J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey. Yeah, okay, they could probably use a running back. I look at their weapons. Cortland Sutton has been one of the better receivers and more consistent receivers, but he's not a sexy name that you think, oh yeah, this guy is unreal number one wide receiver. But Jalen Waddle has shown when he was in Miami, he is a very capable 1B. So are these two, I feel like they're both 1Bs, maybe like a 1A-ish, but sure. I think that, that's some good weapons. The defense is what's going to carry them. And, I think to the Broncos, the big thing they're going to have to overcome is, well, here come the Chiefs again, right? They missed the playoffs last year. Yeah. Mahomes had a bad injury, wasn't able to finish the year. He's probably not going to start right off the bat this year. But I look at
Joe Burrow's going to be back in the mix as well.
Yeah, but in that division, I look at
you're right. Yeah,
the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah,
and Fernando Mendoza. He's going to probably go first overall.
Yes.
Brock Bowers. They've spent a lot of money on defense. They had a really weird situation with Max Crosby and trading him and then not trading him, and the Baltimore Ravens kind of snaking around and then saying, you know what, we're actually just going to sign this free agent. This guy kind of scares us a little bit. So, Max Crosby's back there, but they spent a lot of money on their defense and free agency. I think they're a receiver away from being a team that, you know what, they already have Ashton Genty, and he's a real good rookie running back. But Fernando Mendoza, quarterback at Indiana, he's 99.9% going first overall to the Raiders.
Yes.
He shows that he can be a leading quarterback. So, is that a team that has done enough to just, hey, we can maybe get by with a rookie quarterback for 5 years here now. So the Broncos are in tough. Like, it's, the Chargers aren't a slouch either. Like, that's a division now where, almost every team there is pretty serious. Now, I bring up the Raiders just because I think they're the team that's going to be that next coming up team. But when you look at the Chargers and Harbaugh, and they're a weird team right there. But hey, who's their offensive coordinator now? Here comes McDaniels from Miami, and Jim Harbaugh has already kind of had a defense there that was good. But Justin Herbert's another guy that's been a quarterback that has been one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. Probably top 5, top 7 kind of guy, but always just can't get over that hump, kind of like a Josh Allen. So they're a team that you got to watch out. So it's a tough division the Broncos are in, and it's always going to come down to injuries and your drafting. But I think when I look at the Broncos team, like, that defense is what's going to be, the big part of that whole thing. If they can carry the offense, and then if the offense can just complement themselves and just be able to play, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. Let's talk some hockey before we wrap up this first half of our chat here. As you and I sit here on Thursday afternoon, the Sens just dropped one on Wednesday evening. That was a tough blow, but they are going again here back-to-back on Thursday night. They have been pretty hot, especially since the Olympics, but it's hard to close ground, man. The Islanders walked over the pretty limp Leafs here the other night.
Sad team.
It's just sad.
You all right?
I'm going through some things. I'm working through
I could feel
things.
that, man. I feel it.
I'm sitting here wearing a Hartford Whalers hoodie. So, I'm working on
It's kind of a dead giveaway, man. It's a very nice hoodie. It's kind of one of those hoodie sweatshirts with, like, some nice drawstrings on that. But
sure.
Man, oh, man.
When our buddy Ian McMartin from Whippersnapper was in here the other day, I was wearing an Anaheim Ducks hoodie, so I'm trying some things on, like, see where I might be able to go next. Where
I'm looking over here at a picture of you in a William Nylander jersey.
Yeah, well, I can't totally cut bait, right? It
smells like something burned in here.
things are tough.
Of jersey, what is that?
Things are tough right now, man.
Seriously.
But Crosby is back for the Penguins, and they went into this season looking like the only team in the league that was clearly rebuilding and was going to sell. No, they're suddenly in it. The Islanders get Matthew Schaefer. They are electric all of a sudden. Buffalo is on fire. Montreal.
Yeah, Buffalo. What the heck?
Yeah.
Man?
I'm just curious, man. I'm just setting the table. Where do you want to go? Like, who's got your attention these days if you're going to flip on a hockey game and look for something exciting?
Well, right now, I guess if it's something exciting, it's we're not. I'm just it's the Sens right now. They, like you said, they've been playing great hockey. It's they're
a
couple tough games. A couple weeks ago against the Montreal Canadiens, but then as you brought up, a tough one. Last night or the other night, it's kind of tough to see them, drop those games. I think for them, though, it comes down to that Red Wings game next week. That's very much, I think that, if they
That's the wounded antelope that you're looking to pick off. Like, those guys are just, they're stumbling to the finish. Like, they're there for the taking.
For Ottawa, too, they don't seem to ever get any help from the out-of-town scoreboard. Boston, Montreal going to overtime the other night. It's like, are you kidding me? Like
3-point games.
Yeah,
all over
3-point games. Everyone's winning that they need to catch, but I think the only head-to-head game they have is against the Red Wings that they need to absolutely win. If they lose that game, I think it's 100% done.
Yes.
Just probably not mathematically, but with about 15, 14 games left in the season.
No, you're right. And nobody wants to exaggerate, but that's your season. Like, that's the game. Like,
you're chasing the Red Wings.
Have it. You gotta have it.
You're back by about 4 or 5 points in this race here now. So I think that's the team that if you lose to them head to head, like, that's your way to make hay, right?
Yeah.
Sun shining, make hay.
Yep. No, and like you said, games in hand on them and that head to head. That's the I believe on Thursday, Dylan Larkin was skating again. The beat reporters there saying he looked pretty good, but not yet ready to take contact. So you've still got a couple of games before that guy comes back, and that'll give them a boost. But Ottawa needs to make hay here in the next little bit. And now that they're getting the saves that they hadn't been getting all year, it makes them a totally different team. Jake Sanderson, I believe on Wednesday, they said is progressing well, but no timetable yet.
Which to me means that he's doing everything he can to come back as fast as possible. Yeah. But it's probably a much bigger injury than we all believe.
Maybe
not. But it just, this is
no one was
time.
willing to put a marker on the map that said he'll be back on this date or whatever.
That's my pure speculation, right? It's something if guys can tough through things and make it, they do.
Yes.
Right? So how often have we heard crazy stories after the playoffs, whatever it is.
Yes.
This is the Sens playoffs right now. They've been playing some great hockey.
Yeah.
They are exciting and fun to watch. When you watch the game against the Capitals, I thought at times they were right there with them, but it's not very often where they the team lets down Linus Ullmark this year.
Sure.
He showed up in a moment where it's like, okay, you had a pretty good first period, second, okay. Team,
yeah, that Wednesday game, they just couldn't score, right? Like
exactly,
and that was a problem, obviously. So we'll see how that shakes loose. As we've talked about, a moment ago, I think in the West, I think I'll be a Ducks fan when the playoffs start because my team is drowning horribly. Maybe Sharks. Like I could get into that.
The Sharks are fun team, eh?
They're fun, yeah. But in the East, I think it's going to be difficult. Like I think normally
you're doing the Sabres. I think I could sense it.
Just gonna say
I could sense it without you telling me. I was like, this guy
and yet
has
I'm
Dominic
supposed to hate them. Like they're a division rival. They have owned the Leafs often, right? Like,
yeah. When was the last time?
There's something like all I remember is Patrick Coletta, like assholes like that I don't want. Rob Ray and these
Dominic Hasek.
This is it, man. These are 25-year-old rivalries or whatever else.
Yeah.
I think normally Buffalo would be the easy. Look at these fucking guys arrived on the scene.
Yeah.
I'll bandwagon jump to that, but it is complicated as a Leaf guy to jump on the Buffalo bandwagon. It might be Pittsburgh, man. It might be Pittsburgh. And I know that's unpopular in Ottawa.
Last run kind of thing. Or not last run.
It might be his last run. Like nobody saw them being this good this year. They have done a nice job of integrating some young players in around an aging core, very aging core.
Seriously, eh?
And Erik Karlsson is sort of, kind of being given permission to be himself again, which Mike Sullivan didn't want to let him do. Now they've got a new coach in there who's sort of letting him do his thing for better or worse. And it's working. Look, I got time for one more Sid run. And it's wide open in that division. Like if it's Penguins, Islanders in round one, and that's what it looks like, the Pens can win that. Like it's a toss-up, but the Pens can win that. Will they beat Carolina? I doubt it, but I think the Penguins might be my life raft that as my ship goes down, I swim to, man.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at teams, I think it's the Sabres. They've been so bad for so long that it's like there's not really any fresh beef with them.
It's true.
I look at all these other teams. Bruins, hard no. Lightning, they've had enough. Habs,
they've
probably not
me
happening.
Times, and I can't cheer for Montreal.
No, and then you look down to Carolina, Pittsburgh, and the Islanders. Well, I look at nobody there. Other side of the coin.
The Islanders fans were very mean to my boy JT. I can't get behind that.
That's right. I look at the West though as some teams that I like a lot. Like I've always enjoyed watching Vegas. I think that they're a good team.
Oh no!
Yeah,
what a heel turn here, buddy.
Yeah, Utah Mammoth. They're cool.
That could be fun. Yeah,
I just like their logo. I still wish it was the Utah Yeti, but we'll be all right with that. Seattle's still fun to watch. Like I kind of like how you have three of the more recent expansion
I need
teams.
Seattle to drop out.
Yeah?
Well, for a couple reasons. I want San Jose to find a way in. I also, if the Kings make the playoffs, the third round pick they traded to Toronto for Scott Laughton becomes a second. So I have my own selfish reasons for that. And Seattle's the team that's got to drop out to let one of those guys in. So
okay, fair enough. And like I look at, I don't know,
just practical.
Minnesota isn't a hard team to like either. They're just
fuck them.
Yeah,
they're too bland.
Yeah, otherwise there's nothing else
Plus,
there.
Kind of pissed at the Hughes brothers right now. So can't be cheering for.
How about Jack Hughes too with his comments about wanting the puck?
Have the puck back.
It's bullshit. He says
he calls it bullshit.
Yeah,
like it's the Hockey Hall of Fame for 100 years has gotten all this stuff. It belongs to the IIHF, but they're trying to make it part of the culture wars thing, right? Well, it's in Canada and it's what. Like, oh my god, like I've.
Do you like that idea though? Like he can't keep the puck, a gold-winning goal. I know.
It's not his puck.
Yeah, I know. I just
let him keep the stick and keep the jersey and whatever else. I
know it's part of the deal, but for me, when I look at it, is his comments are probably not wrong. It's just he knows what the deal is. Like him going out and getting mad about it is like, you should already know this.
Did you see on Wednesday they asked Sidney Crosby before he returned, did you want the puck after you scored in 2010 to win in overtime in the gold medal game? He goes, never even really crossed my mind. I just won an Olympic gold medal.
No offense, incredible. No offense to Sidney Crosby. He's just boring.
That's what I like, though. He buried Jack Hughes by doing nothing more than just being a chill dude that was like, I don't know, important stuff goes to the Hall of Fame. I've got a jersey. I got a stick. I got my skate. Like, whatever else. I still got lots of noteworthy pieces from that game. If the puck goes to the Hall of Fame, so be it, man.
Yeah, I just think the idea of him wanting for a kid, I don't hate the total thought of it. I think his comments are a little too far.
If Jack Hughes had reached out quietly to the Hall of Fame and said, I'd like to have that puck, I'm happy to give you my gloves, or something like that, instead of going to the media, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
You come off as a petulant fucking child, man.
And you can talk to a couple dudes about, hey, Sid, maybe talk to him and say, hey, like,
how's this work?
You probably want the puck back. Like, maybe, hey, you guys keep my helmet and gloves, but just give me the puck so I can, have my own little thing for.
Sure.
There's ways to go about it. And I think the way the arrogance came off him, that was kind of like, okay, but I don't know. That seems to be what gets everyone's attention these days. And I like how the Hockey Hall of Fame just basically said
no.
Thanks for coming out, but no. And I think that was in relative to him saying it's bullshit on like a major broadcast partner in ESPN, right? Yeah. So it's too bad. It does make me think like, hey, you probably knew this, so what you're doing is not appropriate. No. And it kind of made me laugh a little bit that he thought that he could just get the puck back. And
I'm going to go ahead and say it, Bunda. It's very American the way he handled it.
Think so?
As opposed to our good Canadian boy, Sid, who just quietly went about his business.
Yeah, but when has Sid ever been entertaining? Like, I love Sid, but...
I don't know, when he was winning his cups and winning scoring titles.
Like, from a standpoint of having a word...
I'm not looking for the guy to give me a stand-up comedy routine.
I know.
I don't care if he's in her.
I just want some personality. Even Connor McDavid. Like, the guy looks like he's
I'm an Oshawa
always
Generals
upset.
fan. I've liked John Tavares since he was 15 years old. Guy couldn't be more dull. He is not an interesting guy.
I was going to say, and like I said, Connor McDavid, the guy looks like he's always stressed out. Like, always stressed out.
Does not say anything interesting.
No.
But, look, let's wrap this one up. We will do a second episode of the show where we will say interesting things, hopefully, about the UFC on the other side of what for you and I will be a break, but for the good listener will be a whole day. I hope you guys can make it. Hope you guys can last that long. For Steve Bunda, my name is Matt Robinson. Thanks so much for listening to this one. We'll catch you tomorrow with more. Everybody, Steve Bunda. Thanks, man.
Thank you.